Hey guys, welcome back to Red Devil TV. Darwin Nunez declining and rejecting Man United and Newcastle. Guys, let's talk about this. This is a player who's been on our radar for the last couple of weeks. And reports have been coming out saying that we were willing to offer Benfica 80 million for Darwin Nunez to come to Manchester United, which seems absurd. He's not worth that money. That's probably half of our budget gone. Forget about, outgoings. Yes, we will get some outgoings with Bailly, possibly Henderson, which we'll get to in a minute. But 80 million, that's way too much for Darwin Nunez. And yes, it's a good thing, I guess, because the club want to offer money to a player who is young, is up and coming, but it's too much for Darwin Nunez, someone who's not Premier League proven. He's much more of a risk than, for example, De Jong is. De Jong has been playing for Barcelona at a higher level. We've seen him in the Champions League more with Ajax, and we've seen Darwin Nunez in the further down in the Champions League with Benfica. And Darwin Nunez, yes, he's still a young player, but he's not worth 80 million. I said earlier on before, at this point, I would not want to offer more than 65 million for Darwin Nunez. And if he doesn't want to take it, he doesn't want to take it. Apparently, he wants Champions League football and he doesn't want to come to Man United or Newcastle. Say no more. In a couple of years, watch Newcastle. Look, they made decent signings, and it's going to be interesting to see what they make this summer. Obviously, Trippier has been injured, but Bruno Guimaraes, of course, him. He's been a good player for them. It's going to be interesting to see what Newcastle do this time, because I said give it 2 seasons before, and they will be fighting for top 6, in my opinion. So let's see what happens there. But guys, apparently there are talks about Henderson very close to finding a deal with Newcastle for 40 million. If that deal happens again, I think it should happen. Henderson has barely played for us this season. Maybe 2 games I think he's played. Once in I think it was in the Carabao Cup, and he played another game in the league, I think it was, and that was it. So Henderson really shouldn't be staying here anyway. Why? How many times do we see 2 goalkeepers on the bench? I don't understand why we have two goalkeepers on the bench when we already have our main guy De Gea starting. It doesn't make any sense. He should go anyway. Anthony, a player constantly being mentioned again for a right wing position. I personally think that this summer we're not going to get a winger. I think this summer the club are going to aim for a striker. They're going to aim for 2 midfielders and a centre back. If we get some more outgoings, then we expect, for example, if one of these big guns go, which I don't think will happen. However, if we get Conference League, who knows? Ronaldo might go. Obviously, this Rashford situation, I think he will stay. But if one of these players who we don't expect to go goes, I think there's a possibility we might get a fullback or a right winger. Which is more of a priority? I would say perhaps a fullback. I think that when you look at Telles and Luke Shaw, I don't think there's that much between them as much people say. I think Luke Shaw is better. But again, how many good seasons has Luke Shaw had? 1 good season out of 7 or 6. It doesn't make any sense to be relying on Luke Shaw going forward. In my opinion, I really think he's a good left back. I just think that when it comes to a season or 2 down the line, I think we need to be looking for a left back and a right back, in my opinion. I think that there's promise in Dalot, but we haven't seen enough of it. And Wan-Bissaka, again, talks of Wan-Bissaka going. And the club's willing to listen to proposals for Wan-Bissaka. Apparently, there's been reports that Ralf Rangnick, essentially, he finds Dalot better than Wan-Bissaka, and Ten Hag feels the same way. And it's so interesting how Wan-Bissaka went to play nothing when he was playing a whole season with Volley last season. It's crazy. It's crazy how things change. And look, I was never really fully convinced by Wan-Bissaka. I was never fully convinced by Luke Shaw. I think there are definitely holes in both of their games, but I think Luke Shaw is probably our best fullback. But either way, I don't think we're going to get a fullback this summer. I really think we're just going to get 2 midfielders, a centre-back and a striker. And it would really depend on who we get as well. If that deal happens with Darwin Nunez eventually, I think that could set us back a bit with getting 2 midfielders. I think we might only get 1. I could just see Man United not making the right amount of signings this season. In the summer, it's not just about quantity, it's about quality. But we have to see what happens. But guys, let's get into the big news that came out yesterday with Mbappe. I know this has nothing to do with Man United, but Mbappe, apparently PSG are willing to offer him basically as part ownership of the club. I mean, they're willing to give him a crazy amount of money to stay at the club, and they're willing to give him, power to say who the coaches should be, what players come into PSG. I mean, it's mad. Like, what's going on with football? Football is moving mad. Not just how much players are worth nowadays, but is this how far we're going to just get players to stay in your club? Like, it makes no sense whatsoever. And for me, this is showing where football is going. And I really hope there comes one day, and it won't happen because football is football. It's a commercial sport, and and it always has been. It's such a popular sport, and it'll just keep going up. Give it another couple of years, players will be worth more than 150 million, and then it's crazy. Maybe not, because they'll reach a point where players will be too much, and then we all know what happened during COVID, and who else knows what's going to happen in the future. But this is a crazy thing. It's just mad. Like, how are you willing to offer that much ownership to a player in the club? I mean, imagine the relationships around it, how much will deteriorate. I mean, come on, players will be jealous, and players will be looking at him as if he's some sort of, like, he's got privilege pretty much just because he's a good player. He's probably one of their best players. It makes no sense for me. I mean, how much privilege you want to give a player to stay at your club? It makes no sense. I would already be against it if it was Ronaldo or Messi. And I imagine Mbappe, a player who's still very young. I mean, he could drop off with that. Let's be honest. He could drop off. His performances could drop off. He might lose his concentration because he's been given so much power. But we'll see what happens. But guys, let's get into this Crystal Palace game, because Crystal Palace lost yesterday against Everton. Big chance for Everton to stay up. Look, Palace for me, we beat them earlier in the season, but the last couple of seasons, I don't remember very good moments with Palace. I mean, the away performance against them last season was dreadful. Absolutely dreadful, if I remember correctly. It was a terrible game. We kept losing possession of the ball. And even this season, yes, we had that famous 30 minutes debut for Ralf Rangnick as manager. For me, this game is as simple as this. Put your best players on, outside of De Gea in goal, put Delors right back, put Varane at centre-back, put Lindelof at centre-back, put Luke Shaw at left-back, bring him back, let him play that last game of the season. He's been out for a while now, Luke Shaw. Sancho's back as well. So in the midfield, I'll just go with a 4-2-3-1, to be completely honest with you. I would go with... I'll just put Matic. I would probably put Hannibal in midfield or Matic in midfield. Honestly, at this point, it's like, it's their last game. Put some youngsters on. I know it's a win, it's a must win, but I would probably put one youngster in this team. Now, whether it be Garnacho on the right, which I think could happen, obviously with them winning the Youth Cup, I would either go, okay, no, you know what, forget it. I would go Matic in the midfield. I'll put him next to Fred. I'll put Bruno in the cam role, Sancho on the left, Garnacho on the right, and Ronaldo up top. That's what I would do. And then bring some youngers on in the 60th, 70th minute. It's not going to be an easy game. Crystal Palace have lost. Of course, this is what? Thursday to a Sunday game, so they're not going to get a lot of rest. We beat them earlier on this season. It was a last-minute goal from Fred, so it's not going to be an easy game. But I fully expect us to win this game. It's the last game of the season. If we drop points, we might not even get Europa League, and we need Europa League, in my opinion, with a manager that's going to come in. He's going to need rotation next year. He's going to need experimentation with the players he has, and especially if we get 4 or 5 players in the summer. He's going to have to mess around with the team. I look at Van der Beek, who's someone who's going to get an opportunity next year. There's no point playing him in a number 6 or number 8 role. Play him in a 4-2-3-1. He's going to have to switch with Bruno in the number 10 role. Don't play him with if we get De Jong. Look, for me, Van der Beek at this point, we've seen him at Everton, we've seen him at bits at United. He's not a number 6 and he's not a number 8. He's a number 10. He's an attacking midfielder. Yes, he does have defensive frailties in his game, but he also has some good... good bits in his game, as his tackling is good. He can be aggressive, Van der Beek, but there's still a lot to see from Van der Beek. At this point, I've seen him over the years, and we've seen him at Ajax, but we don't know much about him. It's been years now since Ajax, so we have to see what happens for next season. But this is a big game. I hope we win. I'm going to say 2-0. We need to win this game, and look, this could be some players last season if we don't get Europa League. I think Ronaldo could go. Rashford, I think he'll stay, but he could go. Some big players might go this summer. Some surprising players might go. So we need to see what happens. But guys, let me know what you think. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.